How about a card game to where the royals battle instead of the villagers? Flip the script and have the villagers be the buffs while the royals risk their lives defending the districts. Hello and welcome to this episode of Pixel Journey, to where I break apart some games and see if they are right for you. This episode is going to be a bit different. We will be looking into an early access version of Luxuriant. And instead of this being a full review, this is actually going to be more of a preview. They will be launching into 1.0 in March of this year, so things are bound to change. But until that happens, this video will be breaking down the major mechanics that I was able to play through and seeing what makes Luxuriant such a fun and potentially addicting game. So let's just jump right into what this game has to offer. So first things first, this is a roguelike game. You hold a deck of cards and you are tasked with protecting the kingdom. You will be moving through districts to take on battles until you get to the big district boss. So let's start with the basic aspects of what to expect in this roguelite. So it's a roguelike deck builder, and each time you start a run, you'll begin in one of the battles. And once you've completed the battle, you will move on to make a decision on what kind of stage you would like to continue into. You will have 3 card stacks to choose from: battles, shops, and boss. Now for battles are always in the same format. You will have a row to where your enemies occur, and then you will have 2 rows for yourself. You will have a hand of cards filled with royals, villagers, coins, and points. The coin cards will be used to add money to your wallet for the shop phases, and point cards will go towards a bar that determines when the battle has finished. Each battle as you progress through the run will have a higher meter to fill, and these can really only occur by attacking or killing enemies. Now for the actual battles, you can move villagers into a space known as the reserve space. This will activate any passive that the card has. You can also move royals into this section, but they will not be able to attack from here. For that, they will need to be into the promotes row. Each round, you can buy 3 of your royal/villager cards, and you can attack with 1 royal. Now, one bonus thing to note is that there is a time mechanic in this, as which the more times you fight in a round, the more time passes. If you manage to get your meter to full before night falls, you will get a nice little bonus. There is one more type of card, and that is weapon cards. These are special cards that can be used from the hand to attack enemies. These cards tend to do more damage than a normal royal card, but they also decrease the points you have in your meter, so you really have to keep an eye on when the best time and strategy is for them to be used. Now the weapons come in 2 forms: direct damage, to where you attack your enemy with it, and also a shielding mechanic. These are far few in between, but they are incredibly important because they can add health to one of your royal cards. Now, one of the important things to note about weapons specifically is you can use as many as you have in hand to attack, and they will not use up the turn. Use 5 of them and then attack with a royal, and then your turn is ended. Wrapping up the battle section, note that when you attack, the cards go head to head in a battle, so you can still kill your own card if you attack someone that has more damage than you have health, and then these cards are done for the run. There are certain card effects and passive effects that can bring a card back from your graveyard, but those are few and in between, and a normal run will have a dead card just being dead for the rest of the run. So make sure to play your cards with care. So you will find over 35 types of enemies that have over 10 effects. The effect that you will see most often is the rage effect, and that is with each passing of a turn, the rage meter will fill, and once it is successfully filled, their damage will double. Their health stays the same, you just have to worry about the damage. Moving on to the shop phase, if you have enough coins gathered from battle, you can pick one of the shop cards, and it will take you to one of several different shops. The tavern allows you to spend money to increase the stats of your royals. You can increase their attack, health, multiplier for points, or the points value itself. This seems like one of the more crucial shops because you can regain health and increase your attack. This was the shop that I was most satisfied with seeing pop up. The chapel is where you can enhance a card with a random enchantment or a debuff. It is a 50-50 coin flip if you get something good or bad. You could get something to where you get a bronze effect where you gain coins whenever it is promoted, or you could poison your card. But don't worry if you've accidentally sentenced a card to certain death, you can purify it for more money and get rid of that effect. If you don't want to risk your royals, you can look towards your weapons instead. You can enhance weapons to affect all of the row that you are attacking. So if you throw Morning Star at enemies, it affects everyone in the line. If you throw a suit of armor, it enhances all of your allies in that line. Now the Blacksmith stage is where you can increase the strength of your weapons or increase the amount of high valued money cards or 10-point cards in your deck. I like this stage because it can increase my durability and strength for certain weapon cards, and I like to use those for the boss stages. In normal battles, they kind of don't serve a major purpose if you make them too strong. To where to go, we have the stockpile, which you will need to have keys. They will come in cards and appear randomly. Each key you have, you can use to unlock one of the 10 chests that will be on screen. If you find 2 matching cards, that card will be put into your deck for that round. Do note that if you find a new card that is not unlocked permanently, we will get to where you can unlock permanent cards a bit later in the episode. And lastly, we have the crawl box, which is a random chance final boss in my opinion. You spend 5 coins and you get to spin a slot machine, and you basically can win gems, cards, or be forced to remove a card from your deck. Luckily, that seems to be the worst option that I have seen, with everything else being pretty good. So I don't really know how to feel about that one. It's not super high up in my yay, I want this, but it's not super low. We move on to bosses now. When you're ready to take on a district boss, you will be facing one large monster. The first one has no minions that cannot be said for any of the following, and you will not have 2 zones to prepare your battles or activate villager passive effect. There will be 1 slot on the left side to where you can kind of put a card in reserve, and everything else will be played from hand to the boss card. Now once the hand is done, all of the cards that have been used in your hand will go to one of 3 card piles on the right hand side, and you can actually pay to bring back up to 2 cards per turn from essentially a graveyard. I personally really like to bring back weapons that have been used because, like I said, I like to raise their damage really high, specifically for boss fights. Now, this feature is actually available in normal battles, but I just haven't used it a whole lot, so I will mention it here because I feel like it is a more important detail to mention at the boss stage. Now, bosses can be defeated in 2 separate ways. The first is the typical fill your points meter and then you will succeed, or you can banish the boss and you do that by killing it. Bosses do not seem to present a super hard jump in difficulty. You do have to initiate attacks to actually get harm done to your own card, just like normal battles. It will not attack you in its own instance. And it does have rage that is slowly building up. But if you have a villager card that prevents rage from increasing each round, then you're pretty much fine. I do highly suggest using your weapons because throwing royal cards at a boss that can chip away your damage seems kind of counterproductive to me when you have weapon cards. And remember, when your royal cards die, they will not be resurrected unless you have a specific card for that purpose. Now, we haven't talked about losing, and this can happen in a normal battle or a boss battle. If you deck out, you will lose the run. That is pretty standard amongst card games, but that is how I've lost boss fights a few times because my royals have died and I don't have enough money to get a weapon card back out. So it is very unfortunate, but do keep an eye on how many cards are left in hand. You typically have a deck of about 30 cards to start each run, and that stays pretty consistent for each battle/boss battle you start with. You have about 30. Now on to card packs. Welcome to the gacha section of this episode. Now I already mentioned that cards need to be unlocked, and there is about 25 royal and villager cards respectively to be unlocked. For those who care about the weapons, there are over 20 of those very helpful cards. Now while on a run, you might be able to add new cards to your deck here and there, but it won't be unlocked permanently and available for you unless you open it via card pack. Every time you complete a run, you will get beautiful red gems, and these are the currency for your card packs. Now I mentioned this is the gacha part, but I didn't mean that in an actual sense to where you can pay money like in other actual gacha games. This is literally like gachapon, like opening like Pokemon card packs. It's all in-game, you cannot spend actual money on it. Now for actual card packs, they come in 3 different varieties, both increasing in price and rarity of cards inside them. Now, if you pull a copy of a royal card that you already have, one of the stats will increase. Its strength, its health, its multiplier, and its point value. One of those will be increased by a random, pretty low amount. But all other cards that you get a duplicate of will be refunded via 100 gems. So this means that there's really no downside to trying to unlock new cards, because you will get refunded. You're never wasting gems when you're pulling for cards. And honestly, even if you have everything unlocked, I would still keep pulling to try and increase the strength of your royals in some fashion. It can be really helpful, especially for later on in a hard run. Now, let's take a look at the 2026 roadmap, because remember, this is a preview. They haven't even launched until 1.0 yet. So at the time of writing, we are in 1.9 pre-release phase. The cards right now have some placeholder art, and some of the concepts have yet to be added to the game. March 6th is slated for their 1.0 update, and this seems to be the only thing with an actual solid date on their roadmap. After the game's launch, we can expect a 1.1 update, bringing in economy update. What does that mean? I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming there will be something to do with the amount of coins or gems it costs to buy certain things, because there is a marketplace where you buy your card packs, and you can even buy some specific cards, stuff like that. I did see in the last few runs that I did for footage of the game that there is now a bear and bull market for some of the marketplace items. So that's fun. I'm assuming that the 1.1 will be kind of working on maybe that basis. Then 1.2 will bring a more advanced tutorial. I will say the tutorial felt a bit lacking when I played it, and that kind of led to a rough and slow start for me getting into the game and enjoying it. The battle mechanics in general left me confused, and fighting stuff I really had to figure out on my own. So I'm really glad that they will be giving a better, more advanced tutorial for new players. I think that will really help them start enjoying the game sooner, because I was left kind of frustrated and really lost in the beginning, and I almost didn't pick the game back up again. But I'm really glad I did, because it surprised me about how fun it is. Once you start unlocking more royal cards and kind of understanding what the villager cards do, it's actually really fun. Now 1.3 will be a hit or a miss. They'll be adding controller support, so that'll be nice if you choose to play with a controller on your PC, or I'm assuming it will make Steam Deck compatibility a bit easier and smooth. So that will be kind of nice, because I do think this would be a fun game to like lounge on your couch and play on your Steam Deck. And then 1.4 will bring more localizations. At the moment, the game only supports the English language. The roadmap doesn't say the additional languages that it will be bringing to the game, but more languages the better. And the last update shows a teaser for a mobile port of the game. Now, I do think that this would be good to play on, say, a tablet or a phone, but I do worry that the screen size and the amount of items and space that it takes up on a normal computer monitor is a bit much. So I do worry how it will translate to a smaller screen. I'm curious, but I'm hopeful. So I do think this would be fun, you know, kind of Balatro-esque. People like playing Balatro on their phone. I have Balatro on my phone. I'm sure this will be fine. The main thing I'm worried about is, like, in the PC mode, you have to click on cards and it'll give you a pop-up of what it does. I'm sure that maybe they can make it bigger so it's easier to read on your phone, but we will see. So my verdict for this preview, I think this game has really good potential if you are someone who likes strategy and reading cards. If you're like, say, a Yu-Gi-Oh or a Magic person and want maybe something that's not as challenging on the brain as, say, reading over like really in-depth Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I feel like this could be a nice game for people like that. Now, like I said, when I first tried it out, it was tough, it was confusing, but hopefully with that advanced tutorial coming soon, it will not have to be the same for new players. And also, like I said, once you kind of open some card packs, get some new cards to play around with, and kind of figure out your strategy for who you like and the playstyle that you want to go for, it becomes really fun, and you open a lot of royals. And something I didn't mention earlier, you get to pick 6 to go into a run with. And so that means you can mix and match a bunch of them. There's 25 or more royal cards. And so just kind of mix and match until you find how you want to play. I'm really happy to be able to say truthfully that I see potential in this game. I still think that there's some things in the beginning that need to be worked on, i.e. mainly the tutorial, but there's literally the devs saying that they will fix it. So I fully believe that people going in like once, what was it, like 1.3, 1.2 will bring the advanced tutorial. So I say get in after 1.2 brings a better tutorial and have at it. I think you'll really enjoy yourself. And because this is kind of, I'm going to say, a more niche game that I would recommend to people, I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. Now this is a preview of a game, and it's like I said, kind of a niche recommendation. So I think a solid 3.5 is a very good score. And once, you know, it's been updated and upgraded a little bit, I think this can go to a solid 4.5 game. So that's gonna be all for me for today. Thank you for watching the episode. I hope you got something out of it. And if anything, I hope that you like this game enough to go wishlist it on Steam and keep an eye on it for when it goes into its big 1.0 launch. But that is where I'm going to leave you all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and got something out of it. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up so I know I did a good job. And if you want to go the extra mile, click around my channel to see if you see other videos you would like. Click subscribe so you don't lose me in the sea of YouTube creation. And I hope to see you guys in a future video. Bye guys.